Picture this: Ranthambore, Rajasthan, 1976. Early morning. The air is thick with dust and dew, and somewhere in those ancient ruins, the kind that make you feel history is watching you, a young man from Delhi sits completely still. He's not a biologist, not a forest officer, not even particularly outdoorsy, to be honest. And then she appears, a tigress, gold and shadow, moving through the grassland like she owns time itself.
She did own time itself. That was Padmini.
That was Padmini, and the young man watching her, that was Valmik Thapar. And nothing in his life would ever be the same again.
Welcome to the Whispers of the Jungle with Oki. Stories from the front lines of the natural world. I'm Krupa,
And our ninjas.
and today we pay tribute to a man who honestly, Ojas wouldn't even be here doing this podcast if it weren't for him.
Yep, that's true actually. We'll get to that. Valmik Thapar, born in 1952 in Mumbai, though he'd spent most of his life in Delhi. His parents, Romesh and Raj Thapar, were influential journalists and co-founders of the political journal Seminar. His aunt, only Romila Thapar, one of the most celebrated historians India has ever produced.
So, this was not exactly a family where you would expect someone to disappear into the jungle for 50 years.
Huh, no. And yet, he studied at St. Stephen's College in Delhi, and by his early 20s, he was working as a filmmaker. Urban life, deadline life, and then, as we heard, Ranthambore happened.
And when Ranthambore happens to you, it doesn't let go. Speaking from personal experience,
Not with your Valmik Thapar. It doesn't. He passed away on May 31st, 2025, at the age of 73, after a brave fight with cancer. And I'll be honest, when that news came in, I sat with it for a long time.
tell them why. Tell them about your inspiration through his work.
When I was maybe 11 or 12, this is embarrassingly specific, I remember coming back from school in the evening and post a quick evening bite. I vividly remember sitting on the floor in front of the television, completely frozen, not moving, barely breathing, because the way this man spoke about tigers on his show, telecasted on Animal Planet back in the day, it wasn't scientific. It was almost like love, like grief, like wonder, all at once. That was the moment I knew I wanted to do whatever little I could towards animals, narration, speaking about nature, and so on. And for years, I didn't even know his name. I just knew the feeling that voice gave me. When I eventually found out Valmik Thapar, I basically went all in to try and understand the man who became an integral part of my formative years while growing. He wrote over 30 books, Krupa.
Over 30 books, while also spending half his life in the actual jungle?
Well, yes, the man did not believe in wasting time.
So, let's set the scene. When Valmik Thapar first arrived in Ranthambore, around 1976, what was it actually like?
Not what it is today, that's for sure. Ranthambore at the time was struggling. Poaching was rife. The tiger population was in crisis. India had launched Project Tiger in 1973 under Indira Gandhi, one of the world's first major wildlife conservation programs. But the battle was far from won.
And into this world walks this young filmmaker from Delhi.
who gets taken under the wing of one Mr. Fateh Singh Rathod, the then director of Ranthambore Tiger Reserve, and arguably one of the fiercest wildlife protectors India has ever seen.
Fateh Singh Rathor. What a character. Tell them the arms and the leg story.
Oh, this is extraordinary. Fateh Singh was so committed to cleaning illegal grazing from the park that local grazers once beat him so severely they broke his arms, his legs, and fractured his skull. His driver literally had to throw himself on top of Fateh's body to stop them killing him.
That's not conservation. That's a war.
It was. And Valmik watched all of this. He learned from this man. He absorbed not just the science of tigers, but the fight of it, the moral urgency of it. He once wrote, "My Ranthambore journey would not have been possible without Fateh Singh welcoming him in the folds of the walk."
That's so beautiful.
And in 1987, they co founded Ranthambore Foundation, one of India's first conservation NGOs that linked tiger protection directly with the welfare of local communities. Walking across almost 100 villages, because Valmik understood something that wasn't always obvious at the time. You cannot save a tiger by ignoring the people who live beside it.
Okay, I have to ask. We cannot do an episode about Valmik Thapar and not talk about her.
The queen herself.
Machli.
T16, Lady of the Lakes, Tigress Queen of Ranthambore, Crocodile Killer, the most photographed wild tiger in the world.
She had more titles than most royalty.
She burned every Sindhi one. Muchli was born around 1997. Ironically, the same year, Valmik's BBC documentary Land of the Tiger came out. She took her name from the fish-shaped marking on her cheek. Machli means fish in Hindi.
And she ruled the lakes and the palace ruins at the heart of Ranthambore.
Her territory, over 350 square miles, the largest and most beautiful stretch of the park. She had 11 cubs over her lifetime. She once famously fought and defeated a massive mugger crocodile to protect her territory. This is on film, Krupa, actual footage.
I have seen it. My heart nearly stopped.
And Valmik documented her life with extraordinary intimacy. He followed her across decades. He discovered things through her that nobody had seen before, like the remarkable fact that tigresses can seduce transient males not to mate, but to keep their cubs safe from them.
Wait, say that again?
Machli was observed mating with a large male, but researchers realized she couldn't conceive at that point. She was doing it strategically to keep the dangerous male flack-headed, while her cubs were still vulnerable. Walming described it as a remarkable behavioral trait.
She was smarter than most people I know.
She really was. She lived to 19 or 20 years old, ancient for a wild tiger, toothless and blind in one eye by the end, but still a queen in her kingdom. She passed away in August 2016 and was cremated with full honors. The Indian government had issued a commemorative postage stamp in her name. Between 1998 and 2009, tourists were drawn to see Machli, which helped India earn an estimated $10 million per year.
A tigress who literally funded conservation through her own existence.
The ultimate ambassador.
So, let's talk about what all of this actually achieved. Because this is the part that gives me goosebumps every time.
When Valmik first arrived in Ranthambore in 1970s, The reserve had roughly 30 tigers. Today, over 70. That's more than doubled. In a world where tiger habitat globally has shrunk by over 90%.
India's overall tiger population, when Project Tiger launched in 1973, was estimated at around 1800 animals. Today, India has over 3,600 tigers, more than 70% of the world's entire wild tiger population.
And Valmik was part of that story from the very beginning. He served on more than 150 central and state government panels to protect tigers. He was a member of the National Board for Wildlife. He wrote, depending on how you count, between 25 and 34 books. His BBC documentary, Land of the Tiger, in 1997, brought the story of India's wildlife to living rooms around the world.
He was also not afraid to be controversial. When the Tiger Task Force in around 2005 released a report suggesting tigers and humans could coexist freely in the forest areas, Valmik Thapar was the one who disagreed publicly and loudly, arguing that for tigers to survive, certain areas needed to be completely free of human encroachment.
That was a complicated position, but it came from 50 years of watching what actually worked. The man was not interested in comfortable answers.
He wanted the truth, even when it was inconvenient.
You know, Vanvik once wrote, and I think about this a lot. Once you've looked in the eyes of a wild tiger, you're never the same.
That's it, isn't it? That's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing. He dedicated his life to making people feel that, even if they'd never set foot in Ranthambore. Through his books, his documentaries, his very public battle with bureaucracies and poachers and governors, he believed that the tiger's fate was India's fate, that a country that could not protect its greatest wild creature had lost something fundamental about itself.
And he made you believe it too.
He made millions of people believe it. Former Environment Minister Jairam Ramesh called his passing a great loss. But I think the truest measure of his legacy isn't in the government tributes. It's in the people sitting on floors in front of televisions having their lives quietly redirected.
Like a certain 12-year-old in Mumbai.
Like a certain 12-year-old in Mumbai.
Valmik Thapar, 1952 to 2025. Naturalist, filmmaker, author, advocate. The Tiger Man of India.
He left behind his wife Sanjana Kapoor, his son Hamir, and if you'll allow me a little poetry, the tigers of Ranthambore, Padmini's lineage, Machli's granddaughters, 70 tigers in a forest that nearly lost them all.
That's not a small thing. That's everything.
If you want to honor him, go read Living with Tigers or Land of the Tiger. Watch the BBC documentary Legendary Tigers of India. It's his 50-year chronicle and it is extraordinary. And if you ever get the chance, go to Ranthambore. Sit in a jeep at dawn and wait.
You never know who might appear out of the grass.
She'll walk like she owns time.
Thank you for listening to the Whispers of the Jungle with OK. If this episode moved you, share it. Subscribe to our channel. Wildlife conservation runs on people who care enough to spread the word.
And to Valmik, wherever the forest takes you now, thank you for the tigers, for all of it.